Welcome to the podcast. It's the best podcast in the world. This is going to end up on the show. I know it, motherfucker.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 99 of Epitome of Stupidity, your favorite allegedly metal podcast. Today's intro music is brought to us by a skyrocketing newer band called Return to Dust. They seem to be skipping that whole dust part and going straight for the fucking gold. But as usual, more on them in a few. If you're new here, welcome in. I'm Clint. I'll be your host. If you're not new here, I hope you enjoyed the birthday present I sent you. I put a lot of thought into it. If you're a returning listener, you'll also know that I'm a big fan of drinking better, and I think you should do so by going to brimminghornmeadery.com and picking out some award-winning and delicious mead. Then at checkout, use code EPITOMEAD, that's EPITOMEAD, and getting a 10% discount on your order. After that, they'll ship that deliciousness right to your damn door. There's no downside here. There'll be a link to their shop in the show notes, along with the band's links and podcast links and all that stuff. So go get you some deliciousness at a discount. Why wouldn't you do this? So after Sonic Temple this past weekend, I'm still kind of hung up on a lot of Sonic bands. Our guest today, again, Return to Dust, is certainly in that rotation, as well as some Red Fang. Baroness absolutely killed it on Sunday. Clutch, of course, is just the fucking greatest all the time. Kitty crushed it on Saturday as well. Holy shit balls. That was actually my first time seeing them, and worth the wait. They fucking killed. There was some little band called Pantera. You might have heard of them, you might not have. And I know that there's a lot of differing opinions on them touring and all that stuff. They played good songs. They played them really loud. I'd had a lot of fucking alcohol. They played Floods, so there's that. Whatever. Slipknot was there too. There's just a whole lot of fucking good bands and a fun weekend at which I spent a shit ton of money, but don't tell my wallet that. Anyways, on to the notes for today's guest. So Return to Dust. Their self-titled debut, easy for me to say, was released earlier this month, May 3rd or 4th, I think. Earlier this month, depending on when you're listening to this. They've been on an incredible trajectory before the release, let alone since then. That's a tongue twister of a sentence there. They even went viral on the old TikToks and had a chance encounter with the illustrious producer Jim Coffin, and those are just a couple of instances that are helping propel them forward. These guys aren't afraid to note their love of the grunge era, and while doing so, they do a great job of continuing to move the music forward so it doesn't just sound like a weird original song cover band type thing. Does that make sense? I don't think it makes sense. But anyways, I'm going to hope you can take my meaning. But yeah, they wear their influences on their sleeve, but they also move the sound forward. So instead of me saying things that quasi make sense or make sense if you've been listening to me say things long enough, how about I make some dumb phone sounds and we get them on the phone to maybe talk smarter about their music. I think that sounds like a great idea. Beep, 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 boop. Ring. And they answered. On the line with me today, I have Graham and Matthew of Return to Dust. Graham and Matthew, how the hell are you guys today?
What's up, man? We're pretty
Solid,
good.
man.
We just got back from Ohio, from Sonic Temple.
Let me tell you, we're gonna need a good reason to go back to Ohio, and that's gonna be to play another show or something, because it was a interesting experience.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Let's jump right into that. The
fest was great. Yeah.
The fest was great.
Yeah.
How about your time slot?
It was fine, honestly.
Cool.
It was really fucking hot that day.
It
so we
fucking
played
was.
super early, and it was chill. I mean, actually cold outside, and or not cold, but colder than later in the day, and it was nice.
Yeah, we our time slot. So doors is at 11 for this fest, and I think our time slot was 11:20 or something like that. We played for 25 minutes, and at first we were like, oh man, hopefully there's, decent sized crowd, for being literally the first band. We were actually the first band.
Right.
And, but there was quite a few
lot of
people, from the campers to the people that get there early. I mean, there's several hundred people probably.
Yeah,
so.
It turns out when people pay hundreds of dollars for the festival, they get there pretty want to go to the whole thing.
Yeah. I was still pretty hungover at that point in time, but I made it there. I've actually got the artwork from that day behind me.
Oh,
Nice.
fuck yeah.
But I hung it badly, so all you can see is my head. So we'll solve that problem later. We'll backtrack a little bit here. I like to start these conversations off with just a big generic. What are you listening to lately?
Dude, lately, I'm a big fan of Fontaine's EC.
Okay.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're really good. They have their Blue and Red album are both really, really solid albums, and he's a great lyricist.
Blue Power Ranger and Red Power Ranger.
Yeah.
They got Green Power Ranger coming right now.
And and they have this new album. They've totally kind of switched up the vibe, and they do that for every album. They kind of completely reimagine the whole image, and it's really creative, and they do a really cool job. And so they just dropped a single off the record that they're about to release, and it's really good. It's called like Starburster or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the things.
Fontaine's is dope. We saw Bad Nerves at Sonic Temple, and they were really dope.
Yeah,
I love me some British punk.
Yeah.
Post punk or that's more straight punk, and I loved it. It was like such high energy,
like dancey, fast guitars.
I love a good like charismatic British frontman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does a really good job.
They're just so
It's
witty,
fun.
dude. And it's so much funnier when they've got the accent too. And it's just like, I'm into it. I'm so into it.
Man, they killed it too. I was a bit disappointed because I feel like they deserve a much bigger crowd, but maybe it's just not their crowd. But
yeah, I think it was a combination of not being fully their crowd. It's like more rock and less punk, more like rock and metal and less punk.
Right.
And also, I think it was their first time touring in the United States, I think. So this probably explains the lack of like a solidified fan base here.
Yeah.
You say
Bad Nerve.
Bad Nerve.
Bad Nerve was awesome. Saw Sleep Token, which I've never seen before, and I actually really, really enjoyed them, surprisingly. I've been like a quiet hater. I'm just like, I don't know, anything that's super popular and like heavy, like Bring Me the Horizon and Bad Omens and all that stuff. And just like, I immediately turn it away or don't give it the time of day, but I actually really enjoyed it.
You and I might be doing basically the same thing with the whole Sleep Token thing there. I've kind of shunned it myself, which might not be something I should admit in an open podcast forum where I'm probably going to try to have them on the show at some point in time, but whatever. I've already said it.
I mean, we're gonna hopefully be playing with them at some point.
Sure,
so
it all works.
Like,
it all got to
okay.
start somewhere. But yeah, I caught them too, and was pleasantly surprised myself. As a matter of fact, I actually turned on the damn album and listened to it from start to finish the other day. I don't know if it's the same in that experience as it was live, but I made it through the whole damn thing, and I may just do it again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Breakdowns are heavy. The drummer's like fucking awesome. They've got their like brand and image down pat, and like
right.
You can really when you get into something for the first time, it sounds like you when you hear something for the first time, or you like have this nerve in your head that like makes you dislike it a little bit, and if you just like get through it a little bit more, if you keep listening to the vision of the album or the artist or whatever, it starts to make more sense as you get through it. And you start to just kind of understand where their heads are at,
right,
and where the mind of the artist is at. And I kind of felt that while going through the album.
Yeah, they definitely do some interesting things. It's not just the generic, heavy pick a band thing that I was expecting it to be. So
exactly, yeah,
win for them, I guess. Not just Sonic Temple, but then wasn't it like the weekend before you guys did the Welcome to Rockville thing, or was that 2 weekends before?
Yeah, that was a weekend before, yeah.
Those are our first two festivals we ever played. Welcome to Rockville was our first festival.
Yeah.
And there's fucking incredible experiences, honestly. I don't want to go back now. I don't want to go back to playing, like, pubs and bars because it was awesome. Like, it was crazy. The sound was amazing. the grandiose like feeling of it and being on the bill with some like crazy bands we've looked up to since we started playing music.
It was pretty funny. Like, so we just released an album, and we had the record release show, like 2 weekends before we left for Florida for Rockville, and we played. It's basically like a basement bar, really small, like maybe like 250 cap room,
Right.
And it was great. It was a good time. It was pretty packed out.
It was
but still,
our release show.
Yeah, and it's got like, as you can imagine, like a pretty shitty sound system, and it's like a dinky basement, and like so it was really cool to kind of have that moment, and then 2 weekends later go to this like huge stage with fucking Slipknots across the way, and like so pretty awesome,
cool as fuck.
Right. What was the how did you guys find out that you were getting booked on those things? What was the reaction in that moment?
It was like somewhere around late last year that we found out.
It was like November, I think.
And I mean, I was stoked. I thought that it felt like imposter syndrome, because it's like, why are we getting booked on these huge festivals when we don't, we're like just getting started, and we've had music out for like we had music out for less than a year at that point, and it was like, I like, that's awesome. I'm glad that we're getting recognized, but it was just like, it's a crazy feeling, like almost like we don't deserve to be there, but being there, it felt awesome. I felt like
we got a call from our producer, and he kind of helps us out in a lot of managerial senses, and so we got a call from him, and he was just like, hey guys, I got some news. And we're like, oh. And he's like, y'all are booked on Rockville this year. And we were just like, what? Like, holy shit,
right.
What day, what time, like what stage, who we share, and I think we shared a stage that day with I think Helmet, right? Or was that Sonic Temple?
That was Sonic Temple.
I think it was Sonic Temple. But so it was super surreal, and like we couldn't really believe it, and
then he hit us with the second festival date, and we were like,
and then Sonic Temple came next, and they weren't at the same time, which is really cool. So the first one happened, and then he was like, also,
by the way,
so, yeah,
it was wild. It really felt like the first thing that we centered our release strategy for our album around the festivals. We made sure that our album released around the festival, and we worked backwards from, when are we going to play in front of this many people? Most people who've ever played in front of. Let's like hope to have a big release by then, and then work backwards, and then we built the plan, like rolling out singles and like getting the music videos done and getting all the merch and the artwork and everything done, and the pre-order packages and shit. So it was a lot of work up until that point. Really, that was the time when it was like, let's roll up the sleeves and get to work. Now, like, we haven't been doing that. We've been doing it for the past like 3-4 years, but that was the time when it was like, damn, now we got something huge, like a huge badge of like something we gotta work towards. You're on the bill with like some heavy hitters, and you gotta like bring the same kind of energy,
right?
Work ethic.
Totally. I've been kind of back and forth as to whether or not I wanted to even bring this up, because I worry about it from like a fucking jinx standpoint or something like that. But do you guys feel like you've had like a super fast rise, or do you guys think about it more in terms of, no, man, we've been at it for 4 years or whatever it is now. This is
that more so. I mean, it's like the picture of the iceberg where, like
sure.
you see the half, the back half, and it's like all of this is like the years that we spent like building up the band and like getting all the songs ready and making ourselves tight live musicians and putting together the team. And then we released music a year ago, and it was just like it's nonstop. It's just we can keep rolling shit out for as long as we need to. And so it doesn't feel like it's been like a meteoric rise or anything. I mean, we're not like crazily taking off right now, but it definitely feels like a steady and well earned and deserved increase of fans and like progression in how much our band is growing. It feels good and vindicating also.
Right.
For the amount of work. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say definitely in a sense it has felt like a kind of a steady rise, just because but at the same time it's like we only released music like a year ago, and I feel like that's really the book start. That's like when you open the title flap, or that's the title page.
Sure.
And even though there was lots of writing and stuff that was going on before that, and like we even played shows more than a year ago. We started playing shows probably about 2 years ago, I guess, just with no music out, and but yeah. So I guess on one coin it does feel like kind of a long, steady grind, and on the other coin, or on the other side, it feels, a little bit more instantaneous.
I think it's just the way that the industry works, is that you just like work a lot behind the scenes, and then you put it all out, and it feels like a lot at once. It's just like feast and famine. It's just like you're either out there like touring like crazy, or you're in your bed like, what am I doing next? You know what I mean?
Sure. And speaking of touring, I believe you guys announced another one this morning.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Yeah.
With fucking Sevendust.
Dust, man.
So sick, dude.
How awesome is that?
Dude, we looked up to that band like so much while we were writing, and whenever we first moved to California, we were like just crazy humbled, and so respectful of the band for wanting to take us out. It was really an awesome
Yeah, I
moment.
remember we actually got hit up by Clint.
Hey, that's me. Oh wait, not this
band.
Clint.
I think he plays guitar.
Yeah,
right.
We got hit up by Clint in the band, and I think it was about he was like, man, like I think he was talking about When You Look at Me. He was like, man, this song fucking rips, and he helped out Seb, who's not here right now. He helped Seb get a PRS endorsement, which is pretty dope.
Fuck yeah.
For him, and he's like, man, like I gotta turn the guys on to y'all, like y'all are so sick, and we just couldn't believe it. We're like, holy shit, like this guy is turning, Sevendust onto Return to Dust, and it's just like
to go kind of back to your question about like, did it feel like a steady increase, or like it kind of exploded out of nowhere? It's kind of felt like a lot of just like mini victories along the way. And like every single time you release a single, like it's a big moment where a lot of people see it for a second. You have that chance to like really like outreach your roots to new fans and new people. And every single single that we've released has had a moment like that, where we've had like one of our inspirations as a musician like reach out to us and be like, hey, you guys are doing great, like keep doing what you're doing. Or we've had like someone hop on board to like get us the festival dates, or we've had like something like that. So that was one of the moments whenever we released When You Look at Me, that Clint reached out to us and was like, I dig you guys' music, gonna try and take you guys out next year. And he held his word, and here we are. And it's I'm so fucking grateful.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I just caught those guys come through on that tour with Static X here in Columbus, and
cool.
The fact that they're still doing it, let alone as well as they are, and then that they're out there hunting for new blood as well, and looking to promote them. That's fucking awesome, man.
It's fucking awesome.
Really cool.
Apparently, they are like an incredible. You've seen them. They're like an incredible live band, like very talented, very like.
Yeah, I've actually never seen them live.
I've seen videos of them from like 20 years ago, but I haven't seen them like recently.
I actually made it a point to where like I've seen them, I think, like since the first time they came through Columbus. Like I saw them in like 96 or 97, and still have like I found the ratted ass fucking tore to shit t-shirt that I bought from that show and wore it under a flannel to the last show, and I washed it, but it still smelled bad, but I still wore it. I've seen those guys probably a fucking dozen times, and they are just so damn good at what they do.
It's going to be really inspiring to be on the road with them and watch their show, and then like it'll kind of kick our ass and be like, you guys gotta like step up your game, because we're just going to be seeing these like fucking talented professional musicians like playing in front of us every night, and we're going to have to be like, that's the bar
right
that we have to set ourselves to. and it's going to be really inspiring. I know.
Fuck yeah, man. Are you guys going to pick up any, like additional maybe headlining dates or anything like that while you're out, or just focusing on those shows?
We will try our best. We're putting a team together of agents and managers and everyone right now. We held off for a long time on like getting proper management, agency, and representation like that. But like now is the time where we're kind of putting those pieces together, and hopefully we'll get a lot of headlining dates before and after that tour. And
Sure.
The goal is to just keep touring after we leave for Sevendust, because we just want to get this music out to as many people as possible, and that's the way to do it in rock and roll. Is just roll up your sleeves and get to work.
Yeah, man, there's nothing like the live show. I mean, I think of some of my favorite bands, and it's just like once you see it live, it's just like completely
Makes it real.
makes
Right.
it real. And yeah, man, like I remember I had a buddy turn me on to Turnstile right before they released
Yeah.
Blow On. And I was like, oh, this is really sick. And I'm listening to Glow On, and I'm listening to the singles and stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is some really cool rock that I've never heard before. And then I got really obsessed with the record, and then they were sweeping through LA at some festival that we went to, and then we finally saw him for the first time, and I was just like, holy shit, these guys slam, dude. And then I saw him like two more times, and
It solidifies that like
yeah,
visceral fan urge that you have whenever you see that band live, and you're like, fuck, I knew it was gonna be this good, you know?
yeah.
And it's like I knew it was gonna be this good. I just needed to see it. Now that I see it, I'm like a fan for the rest
Super
of
fan,
life, you
yeah.
know?
Fuck yeah.
And that's the kind of shit you want to inspire in your fans. Is
Have
just,
you
like,
guys
make
had
it
any of
real.
those reactions yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've had
for sure. But back at Sonic Temple, there was a good. You kind of expect when we go to these festivals, or when you're a new band, you go to a festival like this, that all of these people are here to see the headliners, like the big bands.
they're just waiting for you to
And,
finish your set.
Yeah, exactly. And but it was really, really cool to see a pretty good group of people that were there for us, and they're like singing the words and
Fuck
fucking,
yeah.
going crazy, and asking us to sign stuff, which is really dope, and just really sweet, and just genuinely affected by the music, and that's a really good feeling. Especially when we put so much like heart and soul into this stuff, so it's really good to see that feedback. It means it's working.
Connecting, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody- yeah.
It's nice. It's definitely so nice to see. Like, for the amount of work you put into it, to see some like, the fruit of your efforts come out, and it's like really, really, really nice.
Well, I guess to kind of piggyback on that sentiment, the as you mentioned, the album was just released. What was it, the 3rd or 4th of this month, something like that?
The 3rd.
Just a handful of weeks ago, really. What's the reaction been so far? I've seen a handful of really fucking glowing reviews on my end.
Yeah, it's been great. We've had so many like we mostly hear response in the form of DMs, right? And just like people like reposting and stuff like that. And it's just been like nothing but support and praise, and like you see like people are there's one of the tracks that we didn't single called About the World, and several people were like just like, holy shit, like About the World, like that's such a sleeper track, and it's been really, really good. People are stoked on it. So
It's cool because we've heard these songs like for the past 2-3 years, like while we were creating them, and like we've had these mixes for so long. It's super cool. We're like almost tired of them listening to them at this point. It's like cool packaging it all up and like giving it to people for the very first time. And yeah, to hear people's reaction like that, like, fuck, I didn't know you guys had a song like this. We've known that we've had a song like this for
Right.
a long time, or many more like it. But it's cool hearing people's first reactions to these songs. It's really, really, really sick. And I think the reaction's been just great. We've I think we've laid like a good foundation for the songs we've put out so far, and we've kind of opened the doors for the future, for how our sound is going to keep evolving. Because just like those songs, we have so many more that we're working on even now to like keep the plane going, you know?
Sure. And you talk about where things could end up. There are a lot of things said and a lot of things where it seems like you guys are willing to kind of wear your influences on your sleeves, but you're also clearly pushing things forward and not just like a repackaged cover band, clearly, because these songs are fucking great. They don't sound like the influences, but they also kind of sound like the influences. Where do you think you guys end up pushing to? What is the next on the horizon? Or is that a dickhead thing to ask when you just released an album 2 weeks ago?
No. I mean, we've got plenty of songs, and these are questions that we ask ourselves and each other all the time. I think you're right. I think we do. You know, this album is clearly a depiction of lots of our initial influences, like AIC and Soundgarden, lots of the 90s bands, and you know, I think any artist's, you know, duty is to evolve. Like, you need to evolve, and you need to like find new things about what you're making, and find new ways that, you know, like the universe is kind of speaking to you, and to find a new vessel to send the message. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we can go. We've already kind of shown a soft direction with songs like Strangers. We have lots more songs like that are kind of dip the toe a little bit more into the water in that way.
There's like soft ballads, and then like shoegaze songs, and like straight like punk songs, and straight like pop songs almost with like heavy guitars.
Careful with that.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, Nirvana's pop music.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's cool, you know. Like I really feel like we're branching out to so many of our different like influences and genres, and we're not just like pigeonholing ourselves into one. And Graham and I both write songs. He wrote almost the entirety of Strangers. Like there's like some songs on the album are written in tandem with each other, and then some of them are written like by either one of us. And we just kind of have kind of built this like production where we write songs either like by ourselves and bring them together, or we do them individually, and then we take them to Jim, our producer, and he kind of like helps find the glue to make them a Return to Dust song. Graham and I have been friends since middle school, so I feel like we've like kind of worked ourselves into the same direction of, yeah, we have our own influences, but we both write songs that we can agree are Return to Dust songs. And it's kind of cool to see how that's evolved, because the songs just keep getting better and better in our own way. We just keep like finding a better way to like use our voice in songwriting, and help speak these ideas out into the air, and make it not sound like any other kind of band, make it just sound like our band. And yeah, so it's just really cool.
Hell yeah. And if I'm remembering things right, I believe you, Matthew, play bass and sing, while Graham is guitar and sing. I flipped it, didn't I? Yeah, they can't all be singers. So how does that writing process work then? Let's talk a little bit further about that.
Yeah, well, like Matty was saying, like lots of the time, the songs will either be solo writes or maybe half written, and then we take it to each other and kind of flesh it out a little bit more. But once there's kind of like a verse and a chorus, and maybe a second verse, maybe a bridge, maybe no bridge, then we take it into the studio if we like the song, and we record it with our producer Jim, who is super hands-on, and we kind of just flesh out everything in the studio. It's
all ideas. Like,
yeah, it's very like all hands on deck kind of thing. Like,
and it happens really fast. Whenever we record, we do like 8 songs in a day.
Hell yeah!
It's like just like back to back to back to back, and it's a lot of just like initial like gut feeling where we think the song should go, what melody we think should be there, what parts we think should be there. But everything originally comes back to, we both write on pretty much acoustic guitars, even like the heavy riffing songs. We start everything at like the very base level on an acoustic guitar. And it helps to not get lost in the production and not like be taking things too far and lose sight of where the song actually was. It's easiest to just like strip it back to like melody, vocals, and words and accompaniment, and just see if the song can work then. And if it works and we all vibe with it, then we put heavy guitars on it, we put bass on it, drums, all that. So I don't think you've ever even written with the bass in your hand, right?
Yeah, no, I don't ever write with the bass.
I obviously write with the guitar.
I've been encouraged to, but I just feel like maybe I should try it. I've never tried it, so it's definitely something worth.
You should try it.
Worth trying
For sure. That's one thing. You got to try everything in your songwriting. We've just sat in front of a DAW, in front of a like engineering software, and literally just like drum looped and built a song off that, or we've just played one simple riff with nothing in our minds other than that, and built a song off of that. We've been out in the garage all together and written a song together. We've written a song on an acoustic guitar, on an electric guitar. And you gotta try it on the bass, bro. Try bassing it up.
Bass it up, bro.
Yeah. It's usually like the bass line will come during the production, and I'll imagine the melody over it, but it's always really difficult to play and sing when you're coming up with the bass part, so
sure.
Listen to the song "Live Like This" and you'll know what we mean.
Yeah, like there's no possible way I could have been like coming up with that bass part and like also saying it at the same time.
It's fucking crazy.
And so it's kind of just like an after learned thing. Like we'll record it, and I'll have like the melody in mind, but it's usually like we'll record it and then I'll learn the intricacies of where the vocal sits in.
But there's no rules. You can do whatever you want in music. That's the beauty of it.
Do you guys typically is it a riff or something like that to start, or is it usually a melody vocally?
Kind of at the same time.
Yeah, usually at the same time. I've had words before and put a melody to it and then put an accompaniment to it, but usually it's in tandem at the same time, just like playing a riff that you like or a chord progression that you like and putting a melody over it. And you say a lot like, I've done this before too, where you just kind of mumble words over it and then you like not actual words, just like
sure
gibberish.
This like Adam Sandler's impression of Eddie Vedder type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just kind of put your own words to it afterwards, and it all just kind of falls into place. You've already got like the mouth shapes and the way that the words should feel sitting in the song, and then you can just kind of.
Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. And then it just kind of falls into place. It's kind of the beauty of songwriting. Is it's like a big math problem that you've like got to craft and figure out, and there's no like one correct way to get there. There's so many different paths you can take to get to the same answer, and it's fun. It's like a puzzle. It's really enjoyable.
I've never heard someone make a math problem sound fun before, but I'll be damned if you didn't just do it.
Well, like whenever I didn't pay attention in school very much at all. So whenever she would like my teacher would go over how to correctly do a problem, I would like not be paying attention, and then on the test I would like try and reverse engineer it on my calculator and like try and get the right answer out of that, and then make up some bullshit work as to how I got there, and then just like turn that in. And I think that's that goes to show it's the same thing, where it's just like there's multiple ways of getting there. It's just if your brain works or doesn't work in that way.
Are there any lyrical themes you want to talk through?
Lyrical themes?
Sure.
Lyrical themes.
I think we place a lot of emphasis on our lyrics. I think like no stone goes unturned in this band. It's like we want to be saying something at the same time while we're delivering this music across. I mean, it's really important. And I think it's usually what we're going through in our lives. We've both been through a lot, and we moved out here 5 years ago to do music, and drifted apart from like family and friends, and are like out here doing our own thing, completely separate from all of our old ties and life that we had back in Texas. And it was a lot of the LP is that, just what we were going through.
Yeah, there's COVID and lots of emotions that I think that couldn't have otherwise been expressed if we didn't kind of move away and separate ourselves from like our hometown and our home state and stuff like that. Like there's lots of kind of familial pushback from like what we were doing, because I think we both come from very like, I guess, just like run of the mill lifestyles, like philosophies.
Yeah, where it's like you're gonna graduate high school and go to college and then get a job at
study your STEM degree.
Sure.
Study engineering or something.
And we were like halfway through that. We were like doing that in the process of, and then we got this bright idea and great opportunity to move out here, and we took it, and then started bitching and moaning about it in the form of songwriting.
Yeah,
which is not great.
But I think it's something that like a lot of people either feel and are too maybe not so courageous, so they don't act upon the feeling of like, I feel like some people do feel stuck, and they do feel like they need to study that STEM degree because that's what their parents said they should do. And
right.
I think there's lots of that, and then I think there's also lots of people that are kind of in the same boat. Maybe they did move away, and maybe they are a little courageous but still afraid. And I think that's kind of somewhere in between is where we were. We were brave enough to at least leave, but still pretty terrified that it's like, what if we made the wrong choice? Like, what if all this is for nothing? What if we fail and it all falls through and we wasted 5 years, or 10 years, or whatever, however long. So, and I think that's a very real thing for anything that you're doing, like whether it's like music or, anything.
So, yeah, everything's just an investment of your time, and it sucks to feel like your time's getting wasted, especially years of your life, your precious 20s, your years of your life. I mean, that's why COVID was so destructive, is because it's like, it just swallowed 2 to 3 years of people's adolescence. It made life not normal for a couple of years, and that's like, those are precious years that you have.
Sure.
Whenever you're in high school or college or post-college, I mean, that's when you're really supposed to be figuring yourself out, but it just gets like swallowed into this like realm of like isolation and depression that time is really valuable, especially now in our 20s. And if it sucks feeling like you're doing the wrong thing, and it sucks if you are doing the wrong thing. You got to catch it like as soon as possible, and like make sure you don't lose sight of what you actually enjoy and what your goals are, and that you're not just like following this predetermined system or these set of expectations that were set by your parents or those around you, or the culture that you're in.
Yeah, it seems like we can never get far enough away from it. Like, even in all these interviews here recently, COVID shit comes back up, and it's...
Of course. I almost hate mentioning.
Right. It's a fucking part of life at this fucking point. And it's weird to see, from my point of view, see how differently but how similarly it affected everybody, where there's the specificity of it with your life and the things that it affected with you, and then there's the generality of it all fucking sucks for like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We made the best of it. We wrote a lot of songs during that time and really got a lot of feelings out and transformed a lot of those emotions of like pain and loneliness into art, which is what we have now to show for it in the album.
You've mentioned him a couple times, I think, here. How did you guys end up working with Jim Kaufman, I believe is his name?
Mm-hmm. Our friend Ryan, who we grew up with in middle school, Graham and I went to the same middle school. We grew up in the same town, and also Ryan, who's our roommate and is Jim, our producer's assistant. He moved out here before we did, like 5-6 years ago or something like that. And he always wanted to do music, but like audio engineering. So he moved out here. He went to college, like a trade school for audio engineering, and then moved out to work underneath Jim in California, in LA. And we just visited him one spring break, and we met Jim. Jim was super kind and like just showed us this new way of life that we didn't know existed, which was that he did music full time, and he had this home studio of like badass guitars and like rack units and like all this cool stuff that was like really made it real that that you can do this as a career. And he told us, he was like, if you guys don't want to be in college, you should be musicians. You should drop out and move to LA, and I'll make you a record. And he promised us that. And you know, it's crazy. Everyone talks shit about the music industry, about people not holding their promises. But in all of our experiences that we've had, everyone's pretty much held their promises to what they've said. And it's, you know, we've definitely pulled our weight every step of the way. But we've been really fortunate to have some great help and not be kind of in the trappings of the industry at all. And Jim's just been so instrumental in birthing this band and giving us the right inspiration, the right feedback, the right direction, everything that we've needed to become the musicians that we are today. A lot of tough conversations, a lot of like just butting heads and shit. Yeah, but I mean that's how we met him, is through Ryan, and he just loved us, and we all just like clicked immediately. We just have this similar vision of music and what we want to see in the music industry, or just in the culture of rock music. We all want to see rock music, people singing about real things with real instruments in their hands. We want to see that popular again, and we just have this shared vision.
The things that you guys have butted heads about along the ways, like, are they song arrangement type things where you guys want something and he wants something different? And how often was he right and how often were you right?
I mean, I don't know if there's too many specific things to really to count, but I mean, you can imagine if you're, you know, like, let's say you're partnering with someone, and everyone's got a creative idea, and you know, I think that you just kind of have to learn to work together sometimes, and sometimes that does mean compromise, but I don't know if I really like to think of it that way.
One of the most important traits in music and being a musician is you have to be able to work with other people. You have to be cooperative and collaborative.
Yeah, you gotta have to, you know,
open mind,
kind of leave your ego aside. Like, so sometimes it is, I guess, songwriting, and cause, I mean, there's still like some decisions where like we're in the studio and it's like, I like that, and then someone else is like, well, I don't like that. It's like, well, you know, that's fair. Everyone's got their opinions, you know, and you have to make a decision, you know, one way or the other, and you just kind of have to just work well, you know. Don't be so stubborn sometimes, and so there was definitely lots of that.
A lot of stuff in the studio, a lot of stuff not in the studio too, where he's like, "You guys need to grow out your fucking hair, quit cutting it, and stop wearing your like crop tops and shit or whatever. Like, look like a rock band if you want to be a rock band, you know." And that's stuff that you just don't really have sight of if you're, you know, when you're just kids and you're like, you don't understand the big picture. And
like Kurt wore a dress. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, I don't know. It's an opinion. Everyone's got their opinion.
Hey, well, I mean, image is definitely a thing, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So this might be the dumbest question I've ever asked anybody, mostly because it makes me sound like the oldest person that ever was old. And you know, if the boot fits or whatever. But in looking through some of the you guys' stuff online and doing whatever version of research before this, it looked like you guys had a big fucking TikTok weekend here recently where something just kind of blew up. Were you surprised at the reactions to that particular post? Are they actually called posts? Do you want to make a TikTok for the podcast for me? And maybe please excuse me while I go take some Metamucil and put on a card again. I don't know what's going on anymore.
These are great questions.
that was a lightning round, man.
Fucking great, dude. I love it.
That's so funny. Yeah, we had we did like a little how it started, how it's going thing. It seemed like that kind of.
No, I think he's talking about the big thing, big TikTok moment, like a. Yeah, I mean, the big one was like a year ago, and we had like 1 million views on it.
That's the one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that one like kind of created our initial fan base, and just like it kind of exploded us.
Yeah, that was wild. We got like 50K follows in like 3 days.
It was
Something like
nuts. You can't like. We had no idea what to do with that, and we were just trying to like damage control. We're like fucking responding to like 100 people a day. Like, oh, thanks so much. I like the music. Fucking, I wish you guys would have spread this out a little bit more. Like, why did this all happen in one weekend? Fuck. But I guess that's how it goes. And it was really vindicating to have this many people just like our music at one point. And really, up until that point, it was just friends and family who were supporting us. So to have just total random strangers coming to us and be like, I really love your guys' music, and I see what you're doing here, and you should keep doing it. It kind of pushed us to where we're at now.
I guess, kind of speaking of age, you guys have mentioned a couple times that you're in your early 20s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there any other advantages to being probably the younger band on a lot of these tours and shows other than probably being able to party later than most people and have less repercussions because of it? Or is that the main advantage?
That's the main advantage.
I believe it.
We go to bed so early, though. We are so not party people. We're like,
yeah, we're pretty tame with it.
It's pretty lame to say, but we're just like...
No, I mean, like, we have fun and stuff, but we don't go crazy.
We'll be around for a lot longer. That's the quick way to put it.
There we go. We'll burn slower.
We won't be a part of the 27 Club. You'll hear about it.
That seems like a good fucking plan. All right, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is good to like, obviously because we're young, we hang around a lot of other young people, and you kind of get a sense of generally what's cool and what's not cool at this current time in this online.
Sorry, our cat's fucking dying over here.
Yeah, our cat has asthma, so he's fucking dying over there.
Probably with that noise. I don't know if you hear it.
I did, yep. It sounded like actually, now that you say that, it sounds more like the cat hitting the inhaler than it does the cat probably actually coughing or whatever it was.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Cat just does it. He's been doing this for years.
Yeah. If any of your viewers know how to treat a cat with asthma, then shout that out.
We'll be sure to get him to you. Yeah. Is there a vet in the house?
Is there a vet in the house, please? So yeah, it is cool to just know, and I mean anyone at any age, I feel like can just go online and just start scrolling and just see like what works and what doesn't work. It's definitely taken us. I mean, just because we're younger, we don't innately know what's cool and what people are talking about. You just kind of gotta do your research and just like see what hits and what doesn't hit, and we've kind of just crafted posts around that, and just kind of followed, a formula to an extent and made it our own, and that seems to have worked for us so far. But I mean, there's people of all ages on social media who are just so there's no real advantage being younger other than the perception of youth on the industry, which is pretty superficial, but it is a thing and is valuable.
I like the plan of not being in the 27 club. Not going to be in the 27 club. This is the most interesting part of the show where people, including the guests, listen to me write down things that they've already said.
Love it.
Yay! How often do you guys look at how many streams you have on the Spotify and all that? And how does that? Are you ever surprised by one song doing better than another or anything of that ilk?
I mean, I think it's good to like keep track of what's getting some traction, but it's also, I mean, sometimes you just get lucky on social media and that becomes the song that got the attention. Like I don't think Belly Up is any better of a song than like Live Like This. I actually think we can both agree that Live Like This is a better song. Like, we like it better, but it didn't get the attention that Belly Up did. And that doesn't mean anything. So I think you can kind of get distracted by the amount of streams that a song has.
Okay.
I think it can be a little misleading to some degree. So
just put out your best work, your best foot forward, and people are going to take it however they do.
All right.
You can't really let your writing or what you do as an artist be dictated by people's reaction to it.
Sure. How'd you guys end up starting with your instruments?
I did it because I had to, like every bassist. Yeah, I mean, we both played guitar. I mainly just kind of played acoustic guitar, and Matty you had some more experience under your belt with like you were into like Eric Clapton and shit like that. So, this was like early high school. So, we kind of knew right off the bat that, someone needed to play bass. And it was probably going to be the one with the least amount of electric guitar experience, which happened to be me. But I love it. I think I fell into it pretty fast and easy, and it's a lot of fun.
We were originally going to be a three-piece, and I was just going to play guitar, Graham was going to play bass, and then we had a drummer. And then we quickly realized that to like have the fullness sound of Return to Dust, we would need another guitarist. And thankfully, Sebastian, who's the other member, is not here right now. He just kind of fell into our lap. He'd literally just turned 16, and he walked by our house like 2 years ago, and he was on a walk with his mom, and we were rehearsing, and he just came, and his mom knocked on our garage door, and he just asked if he could play with us. And it was so perfect.
We were like, sure, dude.
We were like looking for someone at the time, and we weren't sure on this guy because he was really young, but we just kept playing with him, and he's really like filled in these shoes of the member, the guitar player of Return to Dust. And then so I do all the rhythm parts now, and Seb does all the soloing and the atmospheric, like ethereal shredding and shit, or Patty stuff. And it's just really it's worked out so perfectly. I started on guitar at like 16, which is pretty late, but I quickly like just fell in love with it. I don't like learn other people's songs ever. I have like way too bad ADD for that, but I do love, like, of course, writing my own songs, like writing my own riffs and melodies and shit on guitar, and that's where I have the most fun. And yeah.
I love it's like the 1980s Craigslist or something like that. He just heard somebody play it and went up and knocked on the damn door.
I know, right?
Is Return to Dust home? Can I play? Fucking
Dude,
crazy.
It was perfect, man. Literally just had this like the star of a kid who like wants to play on big stages and wants to be like fucking wants to be Dimebag Darrell or this crazy guitar player in the future. He just has this vision in his head, and he didn't have many friends at the time, and he just kind of fell right into our brotherhood. It's so perfect.
That's awesome. I kind of speaking of the big stages there, have you guys ever dealt with any kind of performance anxiety with all these things?
Of course, yeah,
Oh, dude.
I think everyone does who gets up on a stage. But
Yeah, even with the small stages, like it's still there. You gotta get nervous. If you're not nervous, you're not trying.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
dumb. I mean, that's like part of the rush of it is like it makes you nervous, and it's this fear that you have to conquer. And yeah, there's the thought in your head of everything going wrong, and you know, breaking every single one of your strings, and like getting your pants on stage and then falling off, and having to run out of the venue with shit pants. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It goes smoothly, and then it keeps going smoothly, and the anxiety gets a little bit better every single time, and you know, we're at the point now where I don't know, maybe not yet entirely, but we're getting to the point where it's like you just get up on stage and just do your job, and it's fucking fun, and there's nothing else like it. It's a thrill, and it's so the shows are so dynamic in the sense that like no show will ever go the same way. You can't practice or rehearse for how a show is exactly going to go, and there's so much fun in that, and it's that like ambiguity that makes it such a blast, and also has the anxiety behind it, but it's just fun.
Fuck yeah.
Rush.
Jesus, make me want to go play a damn show.
Man.
I gotta find another fucking drummer first. So I've got one more question for you here, and then we'll round this thing around into the goofy ass way that I end these things. Where'd the name come from? What's Return to Dust?
Do you play Magic the Gathering?
I did back in like 1995 or 6. Yeah.
Fuck yeah! Wait, that's so sick, man.
Yeah, well,
we are not that cool.
the card probably didn't exist back then, but yeah, there's a Magic card called Return to Dust.
We were like
we were geeking out playing, and it was too perfect.
we were like beating ourselves over the head for like months trying to find a name, because the one that we had before was like taken, and it just wasn't very good, and we were like, we had all these songs already.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell you. Also,
Yeah, we won't. But we had all these songs, and we were like, fuck you. Like, you know the sound of the band, and you know what we look like. It's like, all we gotta do is put a name to these things. But that is like the hardest fucking thing in the world when you're like trying to do it, you know?
Sure.
And so we just had like pages and pages of like potential band names, and like 99% of them sucked. And the ones that were okay were like kind of just okay. And we just had this like eureka moment one day while playing Magic, and like there's the Return to Dust card. It's just like, oh
Yeah. What were some of the goofier names on the list that for sure weren't going to get the nod, but were there anyways?
I remember there was one called Duke Black.
Duke Black.
Yeah, that sucks. What was another one?
Trying to find the ones that aren't just incredibly damning.
I probably have the page still.
Mules. We wanted to be Mules.
Mules.
M-U-L-E-S. Oh, it was kind of cool. It was like gross and like dirty and Mule. That's like a sludgy, like, that's like a stoner rock band.
Sure. Yeah.
Big fucking bellies and shit. Big old boys like smashing Mules. Like fuck. It's not like a bunch of skinny white dudes. That's a couple. There's a couple of the less embarrassing ones. Let's leave it
we'll
at
leave
that.
it.
I'll let you live on that. That's fine. Yeah. If for no other reason than Duke Black and Mules certainly fit the goofy fucking bill. So from there we'll go into my it's called rapid fire, but always ends up going long form. But partly that's because I'm always saying shit like I'm doing right now. So we'll start it off with coffee or tea.
Coffee.
All right. What's something you could eat for a week straight?
Oh, yes. Fuck. Oh, what am I thinking?
Pasta.
Yeah, Thai food, Penang curry. Fuck, curry.
Yeah, I changed mine.
Okay. I've got Beatles or Stones here, but I feel like I should reconfigure this to something 90s related for you guys, but also it's too late to do that in the moment. So Beatles or Stones?
Neither Soundgarden.
Yeah, you gotta do one of the big five. If we're saying Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, or whatever, I don't know the other one. I would choose Stone Temple Pilots or Alice in Chains.
My guy, what's the best SCP album?
Oh, and Pearl Jam, that was the last one. The best SCP album, either Purple for sure.
Core.
But Core is also a close second.
Purple is the answer. Fuck yeah. The do better, Graham.
Yeah, we got a Soundgarden fan right here.
I mean, that's
Core's just like, oh man, like Purple's got some damn good songs. Core's just like,
no, Purple has every single song. It's a good song. Right.
One of your
Core
answers is
like,
correct. I'm sorry. But also, I'm here for the Soundgarden stuff too. Simpsons or Family Guy?
Family Guy. I didn't grow up with Simpsons, but I did grow up with Family Guy.
If you could ask one animal one question, what is the animal and what would the question be?
Tortoise, because they're fucking ages and like they're like centuries old, dude. They know everything.
I would ask my cat Gannon what he wants. He's just always meowing. It's just always like a big question mark. Just like, what do you want, bro? He like,
You're gonna go outside.
I let him outside. I like let him get food, and then he just like looks at me and he just starts meowing. And like I go to rub his belly and he just scratches me. I'm like, okay, like, what the fuck do you want? It's like a big question mark over his head. I wish I just knew what that was.
Solved for Gannon. So what's the question for the tortoise then?
Just like, what have you seen, dog? Like,
what is it? What is it?
You've been here for like
Dream.
The tortoise was here when like the Native Americans were here. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like
Dream blunt rotation, the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah, for sure. And the Gannon.
And Gannon.
The cat.
Yeah, he said it. You got it.
Scale of 1 to 10. How good are you guys at keeping secrets?
Oh, I'm good. I'm really good at keeping secrets.
I'm like
right.
a solid 8.
It's not about
8 or
starting
9.
drama at all.
All right. Woods or ocean?
Woods for sure.
Go
Deep
to.
water terrifies me. So.
I'm sorry?
Okay. Deep water terrifies me. So
Oh, gotcha. Go to karaoke song.
Circus by Britney Spears.
Didn't see that one coming.
Paper Cuts, Linkin Park.
Didn't see that one coming.
You cannot sing that fucking song.
Yeah,
dude.
no way. I'll be doing the rap part.
What would you?
And I'll tell. That's why we exist together, bro. I just give you the mic for the Chester part.
What would you?
The face inside is right beneath your skin, and then I pass it to you.
Beneath my skin. Yeah.
Just like that. Real life karaoke. Last one here. This is a really important one, or the dumbest one that's ever been asked. Sausage links or patties?
Patties.
Links.
Again, one of you are right, but whatever. So the last question here is super original. This is the thing that you're only ever going to hear on this show. So I really hope you've got your shit together and you're ready for this. And I'm glad you're sitting down. You guys, Graham and Matthew of Return to Dust, are getting sent to an island separately. So you're by yourselves. You get to take one album with you. What is that album that you're going to be listening to for the rest of your life?
Oh, fuck. Come on, man. This is probably why I said Paper Cuts to the karaoke song, but I've been listening to a lot of Hybrid Theory.
You play Hybrid Theory for the rest of your life.
But yeah, the rest of my life, dude. All
man.
order, man.
I would stop listening. I would stop listening to it after like the first month. I would like chop it up and use it as firewood or something. Whatever the album is.
I'm gonna go for not a rock album and say Hoser's self-titled.
Okay.
That's crazy, dude.
No, man, that's like what I grew up on, dude.
Let's say Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Oh,
I could dance.
damn.
I could dance around
Okay.
to that for the rest of my life.
I feel like somebody else had that one as their answer here recently, but I can't think of who the fuck it was.
Fake.
And I'm certainly not going to stand around here and try to think at the same time that record button's going. So instead, I'm going to say big thanks to you guys for joining me today. Be sure to look for these guys if you're hearing this on this upcoming tour with Sevendust. I'm hoping it's coming to a town near you, and I'm hoping that some of those other dates that you guys set up maybe bring you back to Columbus, because why fucking not? We've got alcohol here. All of Return to Dust band links will be in the show description. Be sure to give them a follow on the socials as well as their fucking TikTok, because they know that's a thing. I still can't figure it out, but whatever. Should one of those things, man, I'm usually better at reading this part, but I'm stumbling here. One of those links will be the Spotify and Apple so that you can stream the album extra loud. Hit the old subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast from, please and thanks. Speaking of thanks, continual gratitude to the Brimming Horn dudes for partnering with the show. Now that all that has been said, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Again, Matt and Graham of Return to Dust to introduce Face Down for us, and we're going to get this thing the fuck out of here right.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having us, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure. And yeah, you can go watch the video for Face Down, and it was the lead single off of our debut album. So go enjoy it.
Hell yeah.